Hello guys, and welcome to another one of my Fortnite videos. It is a bit of an overdue video to look into the floor freeze trap. We have had it a few days in the event store and I haven't really managed to get a legendary one up till this point, so I was really happy to see it, but at the same time I was really hoping that I could get the schematic from one of the transform keys, because I've seen a lot of players use it and I really haven't felt like it was something I needed as such in my collection. But this here is my testing of it, my review of it, my talk about it, and that kind of changed my opinion a great deal. I have a very fast, durable freezing trap. I don't have the rolls on it that I really wanted, being like impact and knockback, so that I have a higher chance of actually freezing the things that go onto it. But I have a very fast trap, meaning that it is probably going to be more usable against all sorts of normal husks than if I had one that was more sure, like more guaranteed to actually freeze things up. So I think it's actually pretty cool rolls, even though it wasn't what I originally aimed for. This trap here has like 32 durability charges on it, meaning that it can fire 32 times within a given map. So I guess that's like pretty cool. I mean, how many waves of husks are we going to be getting towards it with the cooldown? I just wanted to share this here with you as well, guys. First of all, my settings, of course, and the why I don't always reply to you guys, because when I'm recording I'm starting to be removing the chat really, so I don't have too many interesting things I need to cut out from the actual videos. My very first traps placed here, and just like the first thing I wanted to do was to check out how does it work, what is the speed of it, what is the area of it, what does it actually do to these husks. I have a water element and a normal element husk, and both of them are frozen pretty easily. And I just wanted to also test something out, because we're supposed to be dealing more damage to frozen husks in the game, so that is probably the main thing I want to test out. And I went a little bit crazy here with the storm chest that I could pop to get a guaranteed wave of crazy husks around me. So I just like walled in the area, made an artificial floor over a cliffside, and this was just to test out how does this thing really manage crazy crowd control. And of course some of them weren't gonna blow, I knew that in advance, but with something as the storm chest we actually get like random popping opponents here, there, and everywhere, and they're going to be shooting, they're going to be trying to go for me, each and every one of them. And what I wanted to test out was how do all these freeze traps, I have as much ground covered as I can, how safe are they going to be keeping me from the blasters and things like that. And it worked out pretty decently actually, all things taken into consideration. Of course I didn't have anything else to damage them, but that was kind of the point. I wanted to see how is it going to help me just having the freeze traps, and it does make it a lot easier to clear out these storm chests. Like, wow, this was a huge help, but of course an expensive help. Normally I just solo these with my abilities, so it's not something I need as such, but it definitely made it a lot easier. After having completed the storm chest, I kind of invited a few different batches of husks down here, and look at this stuff here, 470 headshot with my sniper, my new top damage ever, 287, not bad. So it is true, for sure, I'm dealing more damage to these frozen traps, and like the ideal way for me to test that is with my sniper, because I have a lot of sniper data, 477,000 on that one, so I can really compare what I normally do. And I still have power level 104. I try to upgrade my account in batches so that I save up survivor experience points, have some stuff for comparison, and then when I'm ready to like get new data, I upgrade myself once again. 287 again on a normal one, not bad, but not up in the high scale. So first testing revealed this as well. Husky husks don't always get frozen, and that was a pretty important thing for me to find out. So there is like a thing about this impact thing. 493, best snipe I have ever done, 493,000. That was crazy. Another map that I played out to test this out here in was like one of the things I always do. I want to see, not expecting it to work on takers, but I wanted to see if it did. And just as with many other floor traps, nothing. We cannot use these to freeze takers. I even had one like in melee combat on it, and it didn't really fire either. So these takers are not gonna get frozen by this trap anyway. Hopefully we're gonna get one that isn't on the ground, because the ground floor traps are my least favorite traps, and that there are many maps where we often have like a cliff side so that we can't really place them. My favorite trap being the ceiling trap, second best position being walls, and floor traps really being the worst, also because they are always broken when we have these tentacles coming in. Blaster had to be taken out as well, and I had it in camp and I fooled around with. I've been doing a lot of testing with these floor traps here, but I just really wanted to include you in on some of the highlights and some of the like situations where I had a great deal of fun and figured out like stuff for the first time. Trying to headshot this one here again, 300,000, so not like as crazy as before, but still a very decent headshot with with my Heartseeker, my favorite weapon, by the way. I mean Hydra, Heartseeker, yeah, Heartbreaker. Another map with another testing, and what I actually was starting out to test here was smashers and freeze traps, because I had a fire smasher right by the corner, so I was just preparing to fool around with that when I got some of these random groups coming. And look at that. Did you guys see the multi-snipe I had there? Wow, so much damage. It is absolutely insane. But I got to test out the freeze traps against different element husks, which was really nice, and they appear to be working as well with fire husks as they do with nature, with water, with normal. I mean, there may be some kind of impact difference on it, but it wasn't something that I could feel over the course of, like, I think I did 11 games or something like that with these freeze traps, and I never really felt like, oh, these are fire husks, they're gonna be harder for me to freeze than water husks, for instance. So that was not a thing based on my testing anyway. But smashers, on the other hand, wow, they are hard to freeze. Not only do they ignore it when they are charging, they also just seem to ignore it in general. And what I wanted to include with you, or for you in this video here, is the amount of times it took me to freeze a fire smasher, power level 100 fire smasher. Some of the times it is passing these freeze traps is of course when it is charging, so it may not get as hit from it, or it may not count due to the game mechanics. I don't really know how that works, but it appears that charging smashers just never get hit by anything in the game. So every time I had the smasher past these two freeze traps, I've included it on this video here, I am ending up freezing it. That's not going to be a secret, but it seems pretty obvious to me that these traps are not smasher traps at all. Perhaps with some combination of like light traps on the walls that also peel off some of the impact, and then the freeze traps you can efficiently stun lock a smasher. But I wouldn't want to spend that many traps on just having like that option for myself in the game. It would be a completely waste of resources. I mean, it would be faster to just damage the smasher with traps instead of trying to stun lock it, really. But I wanted to check out, can I even do it? Because like the more it resisted my freezings, the more I wanted to freeze it to like find out, is this gonna happen? So I was ready to go all night on this, but luckily I didn't need to go all night on it. But this is worst combination ever, I think. So husky husks often take 2 shots on the freeze trap in order for them to get frozen. It's more a rule than not, really. Smashers, let's talk 20, you know. There we have a frozen power level 100 fire smasher on a power level 130 freeze trap. So it's not like it's a bad one. I mean, it may not have the impact extra bonus things on it, but it's a pretty decent trap. It should be able to freeze almost anything, but it was not really that interested in freezing a fire smasher, that is for sure. The next thing that I wanted to look into was the combination of freeze traps and other traps, because the freeze trap in itself is not really going to do that much for me in the game, but if we have this increased damage when we have it frozen from other traps as well, I can see us having a floor trap that works as a supporter for the entire like remaining part of the kill tunnel, meaning 1 ceiling trap and up to 2 traps on the walls. And it appears that frozen husks take additional damage, not just from shooting but also from traps, but not just from traps as an impact damage, no. It appears to me, based on my testing, that the damage over time, the affliction damage, on a frozen husk is increased as well, which really means that you can freeze something and use your gas trap to not just deal more damage, but also deal more affliction damage to it. So that was pretty cool to find out, because I'm really hyped about using the gas traps. I mean, they're probably my favorite trap, even though they are crazy expensive to craft due to the bacon component. But, wow. I mean, that's, now we're talking good stuff. Now I'm, like, this was the thing for me that really pushed the trap from being semi-decent to, okay, I need to start using this, because the reason I leveled it up to power level 130 was that the main component for me for the trap is the powder from stones that I consider to be common, fairly easy to obtain. Of course, it has nuts and bolts. That is always a thing that you need to consider. Everything, almost anything uses nuts and bolts. But besides that, there are no mechanical parts. It uses these crystals, but for me that's not an issue. Other people may have different things they consider rare in terms of crafting materials, but for me the crystals are not something I am like that. I get them all the time from encampments and stuff, whereas the mechanical parts that I also need for my weapons are like a lot more careful about how I use those for traps. So for me this is a cheap craft, and it is a supporter craft, because what I found out was that not only can I use it with a ceiling trap, not only can I use it with wall traps from the sides, I can also damage it from 2 additional sides, the frozen husk, with the wall darts. So just by freezing husks in a location, by taking out the floor trap as a viable damage spot, I can boost up damage from traps that come from all other directions and really have this burn point of high damage. And I think that is something I'm going to be using moving forward in the game, especially because I consider this trap really easy to craft. So what it means is that I take out some of my crafting resources to make something cheaper that boosts up all the other things I have that are really amazing. And the fact that this trap has high durability and a fast reload speed means that it will match up with my other traps. I won't need to be afraid that the freeze trap isn't ready to freeze something when the other traps are ready to fire. No, it may be so fast that it freezes things and makes sure that the trap can fire a second time before the husks move on. So for me guys, this here was a pretty insane, amazing trap to get with the rolls I have. I'm pretty hyped about it, and it's probably something you're gonna be seeing moving forward in a lot of my videos. That was pretty much what I had to share about the freeze trap, guys. I hope you enjoyed for now, and as always, thank you very much for watching.